So this is day 2 of the Economic Ninjas 10-day video challenge. I'm doing a little better today, I think. I actually made some notes. Of basically my background a little bit, and it's not on a cardboard box. So like I said yesterday, I'm 56 years old. I graduated from college in 1991 in computer science, and I can actually remember, oh, this sounds like archaeological information, but I can sort of remember the advent of the internet and the web, HTML and all that good stuff. I remember we got it. I actually worked at the college and got it on campus a couple years after I was working there. So yeah, I've had a couple years of IT industry experience. I've been in the industry for 33 years, which I think is a bit of a anomaly in careers. A lot of people switch. Now I've had different employers. I think I calculated up approximately 6 employers. There were some small companies that did some flipping around, some name changing, so it's a little bit vague as to which company it may have been at a particular time. But so I've been in the IT industry for 33 years. We moved back to the country. I mentioned yesterday that I grew up on a dairy farm, and after I graduated from college, I moved from my area, the big city, or close to it. But in 2002, we moved back to the country. In retrospect, in a lot of ways, I'm glad we did, with the way things are nowadays. At the time, we had 2 small boys, my wife and I. And soon after we got out into the country, we actually did the whole alpaca thing. It was like 2002, 2003. We had the alpacas, basically a small farmette type thing. At our max, we had 16 alpacas, I think it was. So it was as much a learning experience for all of us and an educational experience for the boys. They both learned how to do a lot of fiber arts, spinning and weaving. One does hand spinning and one does weaving. They actually were on the team that won the Pennsylvania Farm Show's youth fleece to shawl. Some of you have probably heard of the sheep to shawl, but they were on the fleece to shawl. I guess if they were under 18, which is the team that they were on, they didn't have to actually shear the sheep, so they could start with a fleece. But then they would take that the whole way to a finished shawl, and they were on the team that won it at least once, I think twice. So that's one of the interesting kind of survival prep things I have historically. We have the equipment. Hopefully the dog doesn't knock the camera over. We also, during that period when we had the alpacas, we also had 6 Highland cows, and we had upwards of 50 chickens at one point. So it was and some guineas. If anyone knows about guineas, they make quite a ruckus. So we had quite the menagerie for a while. Now that the boys are grown up and gone, they're both nearby, but we're empty nesters now, so we've cut back quite a bit. We're back to basically just 2 dogs at this point. No other livestock outside, which it's good and bad. Generally, I don't mind. It's a lot of work trying to homestead. If anyone has that in mind, and it gets romanticized some, but it is a lot of work. We've done that. We did the garden thing some, and we can do it, but it's not particularly enjoyable for myself, at least. So honestly, that's gone by the wayside a little bit. Um, but like I said, we had the alpacas up until about 2017, 2018, something like that. Got rid of them. So some of the other things that I've done during that time frame, I got into some photography. I did some what's called microstock photography, and I've actually gotten back into that, and I'll explain that in a second. But the microstock is probably the closest thing I have found, kind of for passive income. Um, but I'm not making a living on it. Trust me. I think maybe I make 20 bucks a week or something like that now. But basically, what happened there for several years was I got here 2008. I have a picture I uploaded in 2008, which is at least on the one site, is my most popular picture. So what happened was I did that for several years. I never got great at it, but I did it for several years. Um, Another picture from 2014, I think, is like the second or third most popular. And what happened was basically my camera got outdated, and things like that. So that kind of fell out, and I just kind of let the sites go. And then probably a year ago or so, I don't even know why, I noticed it. I mean, there weren't a lot of sales, but I got an email of like the picture from 2008 selling. I was like, oh, that's cool. So got me back into it. I still have the camera that I was using, but it's at this point it's 10 megapixel. It probably wouldn't even get approved. But basically, what I'm doing now is I actually am doing generative AI images and submitting them. And I actually have an assistant that's doing that on a regular basis. So I've actually really grown the portfolio in the past 6 months to a year, as to where it's up to about $20 a week. We're still working on building it. So passive, not really, but we're starting to see the compounding effect. Basically, we have the portfolio out there and we keep adding more to it. So hopefully that will continue to increase. One of the other things that I've been doing was e-commerce. I did Amazon FBA, still do a little bit. I was actually really doing pretty good at the solely FBA up until the pandemic. I did not pivot properly for handling that. So been kind of, the last 4 years or so, I've been kind of struggling to basically find my direction, where I want to do it, how I want to do it. I kind of think I've decided on what I'm doing there, but basically I'm not really doing much FBA anymore. It's just the fees. I don't know. Like, I guess the sourcing, I can't source as well as some people, I'm sure. And at the moment, I don't have the money to invest in like more private label products. I did do a private label product. It was I don't have one handy. I should have grabbed one. Basically, it was a bore sight, like a cartridge bore sight, where you'd put it in the gun. And oops, I said that word. Shouldn't have said that word. I might bleep that out. You put it in there and you sight it in, so it wasn't like a live pew type thing. But they decided that it looked like something, so you can't advertise it and things like that, and that just, so that private label brand has been dying or is dead. And I got a couple last inventory of it around that I'm unloading. So that'll be recouped from or out of that. But now what I'm doing for the e-commerce is really keeping my inventory here. It's more work for me, but it's actually, there's a couple of reasons. I like having it here just because it's here. Depending on what I'm sourcing and different things, it's nice to have it local. Right now I'm doing a lot of clothes, so I have a lot of jeans, different things like that. But the nice thing is then I'm selling it on probably the three major, I got a software that I list them on the three major e-commerce websites, would be Amazon, Walmart, and eBay. So I can list it across all three of them, the same item. First one that sells gets it. So that's where I'm at on that, and we've actually started to do some pallet returns. I'm sure if you've been much time online, you've seen the pallet returns and stuff. Just with the plethora of returns that Amazon gets, and having been on the seller side of it, I can see where excuse me, the returns go back, and been scammed a couple times on that, and been burned a couple times on some pallets. We make out pretty good on the pallets, though, to be honest. I'm trying to see here if I've covered everything. A couple of the other things that I've tried over the years, I've tried doing the blogging and different stuff, the affiliate marketing, and that's actually probably not necessarily blogging, but more vlogging, actually, with doing video channel is probably the route I'm going, just because it seems a lot more, I'm not sure, not easier is probably not the right word. Blogging's nice though, because you can get the SEO content. But so I'm kind of pivoting back towards the affiliate marketing. I've done a lot of the physical product, and to be honest, I'm trying to pivot away from that some, more towards the digital products, or just affiliate selling someone else's physical product, so I don't have to deal with returns, things like that. So I'm doing that. I've really been bouncing around the idea of developing some information products, or an information product. I don't know if it was Economic Ninja. I mean, he was basically encouraging, like I said yesterday, I've seen multiple videos on people over 40 or 50 starting a YouTube channel because we've got a lot of knowledge to share, and I agree, but since it's mine, I mean, it's kind of difficult to quantify, to figure out what I want to put out there. But the one group I'm in, they're basically talking about, you don't necessarily need to be an expert. You basically just need to be a couple steps ahead on the learning curve of someone else, which is oftentimes, and I can see that that's oftentimes the easiest way to learn. If I've just learned something, I can probably convey it on to someone else a little more easily than an expert. An expert's going to be like, and go, so I just kind of need to decide what I want to do there. Or I mentioned maybe making some sort of a course, maybe make a 2 or 3 hour course on something. I've done a lot of database stuff over the years, so maybe I would do some sort of a database course. But the one thing I probably want to try to encourage everyone to do and this is an area that I've struggled with, and that is to actually stay, and that's why I like this challenge, is to stay consistent. I did look the reels or whatever on some of our channels. I started them on Apocalypse Advisors a year ago and did, I don't even remember how many of them, and left it fall by the wayside. So that's what consistency, just day in and day out. Now I know this challenge is only for 10 days, which this is day 2, so the objective is to make it to 10 days. I don't know that I'll be daily after that, but I would like to try to make some commitment that I would be fairly consistent on that. So beyond that, I don't know that I really have much more to add for today. Just make sure everybody gets out and votes on Tuesday. I think our country could really use some good leadership.